for the same question. So this one was 2 marks. It wants the highest common factor. What does that actually mean? Well, highest common factor means you want the largest number that divides to 72 and 90. There's no point listing out all the factors of 72, you're there all day, like 1, 72, 2, etc. You're there all day. Listing out the factors of 90, 1, 92, 45, 3, 30, like, you're there all day. So what we always do is you write each number as a product of its prime factors. You basically do a factor tree. So your factor tree could look exactly like mine, or it could look completely different, but you'll always get the same numbers at the end. So I always do it as you want a factor tree. First of all, I always start with 2 if it's even. So 72 divided by 2, that'll give us 36. If it's prime, put a ring around it. 2 is prime. 2 is the only even prime. 36, is that prime? No. So you can keep dividing by 2. 2. 36 divided by 2 is 18. Is that prime? No. So divide by 2 again. 2, 9. 9 is a square number. 3 and 3. Once all the n branches have ring around it, that means they're all prime. You stop. Now 90, again, you could do 10 and 9, and then 2 and 5, etc. I normally just keep going with 2s. So 2 and then 45. As it ends in 5, we know 5 is a prime number. So we can have 5 and 9, and then we can have 3 and 3. But your tree diagrams could look completely different to mine, but you'll always end up with the same numbers at the end of the branches at the end. So now, as we got 2 numbers, we always start by drawing 2 overlapping circles. On the left-hand side, I'm going to label this 72. On the right, I'm going to label that circle as 90. Always start in the overlapping, the intersection. And they're the numbers that are common in both 72 and 90, the common prime factors. So here we've got 2. That's common. So you write it like that. What else is common? Well, we can see we've got 3. So it goes in the intersection, common. And we've got another 3. To find the HCF, all you do is multiply the numbers that are common. Because the clues in total, HCF, highest common factors. You multiply the common prime factors. So the HCF, you've got to multiply them out though. So in this case, 2 times 3 times 3. 2 times 3 is 6. 6 times 3 is 18. So the answer therefore is 18. 18 is the largest number that divides to 72 and 90 and does not give a remainder. I may as well just complete this just for completeness. You don't need to in the exam though. But if it was for LCM, any numbers, prime numbers still missing from 72. In this case, we've got 2 and 2 that replace in those parts. Any prime factors missing from 90 still. In this case, we've got 5 get placed in the remaining part of circle of 90. And if you wanted LCM, the quickest way to find LCM, so a lot of people just times all the numbers inside the Venn diagram, which is absolutely fine. Every number inside the circles, that will give you the LCM. So you could just do 2 times 2 times 2 times 3 times 3 and then times 5. That would work. But the quickest way on a non-calculator paper or calculator paper is you pick the biggest number. Well, that's 72, that's 90. So the biggest number here will be 90. So 90, if you times 2 times 3 times 3 times 5, because the numbers in that whole circle, obviously always will multiply to give that number. So pick the biggest number, that takes the whole circle, 90. And any number's still missing, prime number's missing. So 2 and 2. 90 times 2 is 180. 180 times 2 is 360. So the LCM is 360. That's the first number. That's the lowest common. The first number that appears in 72 and 90 times table is 360. That wasn't asked for here. That was just extra here. It was just HCF, which is 18. So are we okay or not? Does that make sense? Or do we go too quick? So any questions? Okay, perfect. So question 25, a square number. So 25, square number. It said the diagram shows the plan, the front, and the side elevation of a solid shape drawn on a centimeter grid. That's important. So a centimeter grid means that we treat each of these as a centimeter. So you don't actually get a ruler, because if you got a ruler, it may not be exactly a centimeter, although this one it literally was. But here it tells you it's a centimeter grid. So therefore, you know each of these are meant to be 1 centimeter. In the space below, draw a sketch of the solid shape. Give the dimensions of the solid shape. So first of all, the plan is from above. So the plan is from above. That's you in a helicopter looking down. Or if you go to one of those like viewing towers where you've got a glass floor and you're looking down. So when we say plan is from above, looking down a helicopter. Remember in school, we play with those multi-cubes and then people mess around them when we stop playing with them. So plan is from above, you're looking down. That's the front, that's the side. So clearly, in this case, it's a cylinder. You don't need to be an artist. Clearly, I'm not an art teacher, so like that. But you do need to give the dimensions. So you can do that. You can do like a 3D, etc. So what are the dimensions? Well, the height of the cylinder will be the height here. So just count the number of squares. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's the centimeter grid. So the height will be here for 5 centimeters. Make sure you put the units. And the last thing you can put is you can put the diameter. So the diameter of the circle, doink, is diameter goes from one edge of the circumference through the center to the other side. So just count the squares. 1, 2, 3, 4. So therefore 4 centimeters. And that's sufficient for 2 marks. So just make sure. Again, we always recommend if you're drawing something, use a pencil, just in case you don't cross out or rub out, etc. and that's sufficient. So plan is from above. You're on a helicopter looking down on the shape, or if you're on a viewing tower and you've got a glass floor, you're looking down, etc. So question 26, let's speed it up. Question 26 is worth 3 marks. So 3 marks on transformations. So first,